So today we're going to be building the Tomas IKEA shelf. You're going to want the smaller screw on the right as shown here. So you're going to want to screw this into the legs. This is going to be the legs for the actual shelf itself. You're going to want to make sure that these are both tight. Right, so next you're going to need the 4 pegs as shown here, and instead of putting it into the legs, you're going to put it into the larger piece as shown here. You're going to want to make sure to do this on both sides, exactly the opposite sides. So these holes need to align with the screw, and if they're not aligned with the screw, then you've done it wrong. So make sure that you've done it right. And it should just easily slot in if done properly. Next part, you're going to need these little screws. You're going to want to screw these, only 4 of them into each one in the bottom 4. Don't do the top 2. You're going to want to screw these up tightly to make sure that it's securely in place. So we're going to use these screws again. This time we're going to actually screw these into the leg and the main frame. Once again, making sure that it's quite tight, and make sure to put it in these exact positions. If you do not, then it will not work properly. So as you can see, the 2 dots in the middle, we aren't putting them in, but the further 2 we are. So make sure to do that properly. Next part, we're just adding the top screw in here, and these are the bumper bits, just to make sure that the wood doesn't scrape on the floor. You're going to want to do that for both legs, not just this one as shown here. You're going to have to do this for the other one as well. So we're going to move these 2 to the side because these aren't going to be needed for the next few steps. So we're just going to put this over there. So these are the next 2 parts that you're going to need. Make sure that those 2 dots on the right aren't connected to the other board, instead it's pushed over to the left like that. We're going to want a smaller piece as well that slots in the middle. As you can see, those 3 dots align, so you know that it's done it perfectly. For this you're going to want 2 shorter screws and a little hinge. Once again, you're going to want to make sure that this is in tightly. You'll have to repeat this step for both. Right, so this part you're going to have to turn it around, and you see the 2 dots on the top plank of wood. You're going to want to turn that over and only have the 1 dot, and put it on the top dot on the bigger piece, and you're going to want the screw shown there. This is quite a longer screw. This is going to fit just in the middle, and as you can see, you might need an extra person to help you out here, just to make sure that it slots in securely and perfectly. Right, so we've turned it on its back side, and once again we're putting a bumper in. This is also going to be a bottom part that touches the floor. So we're turning it around, and we need to align these dots together. It should slot in just like that. You're going to once again need that little bit longer screw just so you can clamp it in. You're going to use the screw that IKEA provide you. It should fit in perfectly. No problems at all. So this is when we're going to need the longer screw as shown here. These are just going to slot just through this little plank of wood here. And we're going to use the little screw things to secure these in so these don't move about at all. Make sure that you've screwed both of these in properly to secure it in place. The board that we used earlier, we're just going to slot it through the middle there. And you're going to want to get another piece of wood exactly the same, but obviously opposite ways, and you're going to want to slot that in. Once again, putting in the two screw bits and making sure that they are both tightened as shown. And we're going to use more than 4 pegs here. This time we're going to turn it around. But we're not going to use the big holes, we're only going to use the small holes as shown in the video. The big holes will not allow it to be secure, so you'll need to make sure that you're definitely using the small holes here. You're going to repeat it for the other side. Right, so we're going to pull these two legs back over again. Just going to line these up for you. Right, these pegs are very important. This is going to make sure that both of these legs are securely in place. You're going to want to put these in the position as shown in the video. You're going to want to use the clamps again, but only on the bottom hole, furthest away from the larger hole. You're going to not want to go over both of the holes. We're going to use the pegs again. This time just putting it in the longer piece. There should be a longer piece. And you can slot the little wood parts into the smaller holes. Right, so this is at the top of the leg. You're going to want to slot this in. We're going to turn this around. Right, so this is where you put the other leg on. It should secure it in place. You're going to want to screw these screws in. Make sure that all of these are done. You might want to double check this at this point that you've done it for both sides. This is the next piece we're going to use, quite a large piece. And we're going to use a small screw as seen here. So you're going to want to copy the exact layout that we've used in this shot for the little screws. As you can see, we're not putting it in the center dots, we're only going to put it in the further dots. In the middle we've shown that you're going to want to put it in the further one and not in the closer one. These are the 4 pegs we're going to use again. These are going to go in the dots as shown. Making sure not to put it in that dot, as you can see, and the other dot. Right, so we're going to put it up here slowly. Right, these 2 dots that we didn't put anything in earlier, those are used for that part. Make sure that those both align. It should just slot in relatively smoothly. And we're going to use these pegs again to secure this top piece in place. Make sure that you put the pegs in all the holes shown. And we're going to turn it on its back again. It's very important that you do this last part. Make sure that you screw in these 2 screws on the very bottom part. This is just to make sure that it's extra secure at the bottom. Those screws that we just put in, you can see me pointing there and there. So now we're going to put even more screws in the places shown. Right, so now we're on the completely bottom part, and we're screwing this little bit in at the bottom. This is the other side of the drawer. And this is the final part. You are all done with your new shelf. Congratulations.